Due to the governor's statewide disaster declaration relating to COVID-19 pandemic and current public health guidelines for social distancing, we've determined that it is not prudent for the members of the Economic Development Commission or staff to convene in person for this morning's meeting. Therefore, the members of the EDC are attending this meeting by video conference. Those same conditions require barring access to the public for in-person attendance. In light of those limitations, the public is invited to attend and listen to the meeting through Zoom platform or by phone, as indicated on the meeting agenda. To comply with the Open Meetings Act requirements for virtual meetings, this morning's meeting is being recorded. So we are now called to order, and
Roger's chairs.
Roll call, I think, will be the first order of business.
Yes. Jay Levin.
Here.
Mike Elliott.
I'm here.
Erwin Steinberg.
Here.
Mina Hall. Roger.
Here.
Okay. And I'm here.
Very good. Minutes of the last meeting have been circulated. Anybody have any corrections, additions, or revisions? Hey, Mina.
Hi, Mina.
We're working on the minutes for the last meeting. If there's any addition, correction, or whatever, speak now or forever, as the saying goes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting?
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Move, and I heard a second to whoever that was. Nicely done. Any opposed? Minutes are approved. So moving on to the agenda, relatively short, I think, today, which is not a terrible thing. The first item is the usual check-in with the associations that we've dealt with regularly, the HLGDBA and the like. Anybody have any inputs?
Roger, could I just, if we don't, maybe make those quarterly updates then if we don't have too much going on with those?
That's not a bad idea.
You know, I mean, how much more?
Bi-monthly, all right.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned we don't lose track, but every time to, yeah, good point. I think I'll remember that.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I wanted to add is, you know, Illinois has, the health department has announced that there is going to be a metric-based vaccination informed framework for Illinois to open into the 5th phase. And so it's going to be based upon going into phase 5 when I think they were saying close to 70% are vaccinated. So it's probably going to take a little while yet.
Well, we're all making progress. I've got my shots, and Pam's getting her second this morning, and I suspect a few others have managed to find their way in. And my kids all got their first shot, and they're, you know, young folks. So we're making progress.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and they say with phase 5, it'll allow indoor dining for 50% of residents, and the same for festivals and other activities. So as we get into that, you know, they're going to, as they review the metrics on vaccinations, we'll hear more about these openings, hopefully in the next few months.
I just wanted to put a plug in if anybody's looking to donate some of their time. The vaccination sites in Grays Lake are looking for volunteers. So trying to get, my husband and I have been trying to give about 8 hours a week. So and they're always short.
Jenny, I'll reach out offline. I'll try to help too.
Oh, great. Yeah, they're ready for able people.
Hey, Jenny, I'll send the email out from the Lake County Municipal League, and there's an easy way to sign up through them.
Yeah, I was wondering if we even, well, we'll talk about it tonight. I was thinking of putting it in the newsletter because they're not, you know, they're really looking for any able bodies.
You could do that too. I don't think they would mind. So we just need to talk to them first.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Yeah, the next item on the agenda is the How'd You Do It videos. The last time we discussed this, we had some that have been done and we were looking to get them online in edited abbreviated form. And there was some talk about chasing down some more people as possible interviewees. Has anybody had any luck with?
I left multiple messages at Sunset. I'll keep trying. I would take that as a no probably from their response.
Yeah, I tried to track down Ron at Sunset, but I haven't seen them last 3 visits. And I talked to my dad about Menards and he said, I'll get back to you. And I dead silence on my on his end. But it's golf season up there, so.
Gosh, hope your father gets back to you.
But Bill, you have a contact at Menards, don't you?
Yeah, we do. There's the guy that's in charge of real estate. What's the ask?
We were thinking of featuring them on How'd You Do It and moving to Long Grove with their Menards.
Yeah, I mean, I can get you in contact with them. Not a problem.
Okay, that would be great.
Positive aspects of doing business here. So that's all.
That's good. Yeah. Is Amy on the line? Amy Gayton?
I don't see her.
Yeah, I know she was going to talk to some folks at Mork's and a couple of the chocolate places. I'd be happy to also.
All right. How about the how about the software, about the internet side of this? How far along are we on the upgrade of the internet?
Well, we're waiting to pass our budget, and that would have that goes on the agenda tonight. And we have, on the agenda is an increased budget. So
Yeah.
once we have the monies, we can move forward it. But at this point,
And there was a decision about the platforms too, right?
Pardon?
There was a decision about the platforms as well.
Yeah, we did decide to move forward with social media. So we're going to add Facebook and I believe it was Nextdoor were the two.
And LinkedIn. LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn. Oh, yes.
And LinkedIn is really good for the EDC, in my opinion. So.
And how would LinkedIn work? I mean, would we have a Long Grove account for that, or how would we post things for LinkedIn?
Yeah, so I'll speak to that. LinkedIn allows company pages. So in this case, we would have a Village of Long Grove page or, I recommend not two, but, Long Grove EDC. I recommend having a Village of Long Grove company page. I'm using quotes. And then, on that page, we post for the entire village, including the Downtown Association, including EDC. And so then what you need to do to make LinkedIn effective is we all need to follow the Long Grove page and get as many people in our networks to follow the page. Then what you do is post regularly. And as I mentioned on the last call, we publish a digital newsletter, parse that out, once a week with one of the articles in the newsletter, once a week. Because what happens is when you post valued content frequently, you increase your SEO rating, your search engine optimization rating, and it gets your posts into more people's feed. The other thing we need to be diligent about is once we post something on the Village of Long Grove LinkedIn page, we all have to like it and, more importantly, comment on it positively, because then that will increase the odds of getting that posting into the feeds of people within our LinkedIn networks. So the more frequency of valued content that you post and the more we all like and comment on it, the more it will get exposure on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's very helpful, Mike, because, I think I was saying last time that, through working in real estate development at Allstate for, over 30 years, there's a lot of, folks that have become independent developers are working for other firms that, once we post that, you get, that's your whole network that'll get that update. That's
And the
very
nice thing about LinkedIn is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, go on.
No, the nice thing about LinkedIn is it is, it's designed to be for business, right? And so they do a really good job of keeping the non-business, it's not like, and there's nothing wrong with Facebook or Twitter, but that is, social media stuff that talks about, pet videos and what's going on in people's lives. And they do a really good job of keeping it business focused. So people that are spending time on LinkedIn, like I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn searching for job postings, right? But I get a lot of information on LinkedIn about what's new with a company that I might be following, a product announcement, and to our purpose, announcements about events or municipal happenings. So I think it's an exposure to the right audience we're trying to attract from the EDC. Someone might be on LinkedIn who is looking to expand or start a business, right? And they're on LinkedIn because it's free to join, or you can have a very affordable paid membership where you get more search criteria. And, those are the folks, if we get a hit there, because we're on that platform, I think it's worth, the investment of time is really all we have to have there.
Along that line, the investment of time is going to be time that somebody has to invest, and putting together all these articles is going to be a small challenge, at least. Yeah. My question is there any value, Mike, or anybody else who knows, in being a news aggregator with our LinkedIn website, adding to their things about Southwest Lake County, generic kind of things, as well as just a wonderful opportunity in downtown Long Grove? Is that something that we should?
Well, so the thing with that is, company pages do post more individual pages. Like an individual will post content that's of value in their field. So I might be out there and post something that is about marketing automation or, Salesforce automation. Hey, I read this great article, wanted to share it with my network, right? And so that is of some value. What's of higher value is original content. And I don't think it's going to be a lot of work to begin because, like I said earlier, we already have content, right?
Right.
We already have content on our website. We're producing new content on a good cadence because we have the digital newsletter. And so we're gonna continue to publish the digital newsletter, but then if that has 5 articles in it, you've got 5 opportunities to make a post, whether it's once a week or twice a week until the next one comes out. You're just taking that exact same article and putting it on LinkedIn so that people who may not see or read the digital newsletter will see that article posted in their LinkedIn feed and be like, oh, I'm going to click on this and read it. And that might drive them to the website or to other Long Grove information. So I think we have plenty of content that we don't need to, but certainly there is value in, if we're partnering with Lake County Partners, for example, to say, hey, Lake County Partners is having this cool event or having a webinar, check it out, to post that on Long Grove's page, because that will be another reason for someone to maybe follow our page on LinkedIn.
Sounds good. Anybody else on that topic in particular?
Just a comment on that, Mike. Would we need to assign someone, I don't know, best practices that's going to post every week, like an article that we had from the digital newsletter, and then we'll start following it and commenting on it? What sort of best practices, so when we do get this set up, we could run with it?
Yeah, I think the best practice is to put together a real simple marketing calendar, and that would include, hey, on whatever day the newsletter comes out. I'm making this up. Let's say it's the second Wednesday of every month, or the second and fourth Wednesday. So in those weeks between when the newsletter comes out, you pick a day every week or 2 days every week and say, okay, on this day, Article 1 posts, on this day, Article 2 posts. And because you've already got it written and developed, you're not having to recreate content every time you're posting on social media. You just put that on the calendar for the rest of the year. Someone takes that article, drops it in, and you're off to the races. It won't be a big time commitment in addition to what we're already doing, unless we want to start creating original content for LinkedIn, which at this point, to get started, we don't have to do that at all.
Okay.
Well, I go on LinkedIn a lot. I would volunteer to work on that if you want to work on that too, Mike.
I'd be happy to. I just don't want to, we would probably need to check that with Trustee Kritzmeyer, because isn't she the one that's organizing social media for the village?
Okay.
And again, I'm happy to do that, but I don't want to step on
Yeah,
toes,
I think,
right?
hey, Mike, to your point, Bobby O'Reilly has the communications, but we've hired Vicarious Communications to help us. So she's going to help us with a communication plan. I think we just need to pull you in,
Yeah,
and
for
figure
sure.
that part out. Yep.
Yep.
But we have somebody leading this for us. That's, I guess, what I'm saying. We're paying for that
Yeah,
aspect of it,
Perfect.
which
Yep.
helps a lot. Because I don't think we all want to be sitting there doing everything on social media. That's all we'll do all day, especially with
Right.
the bridge that just got hit. So yeah,
We
never
already
mind.
had a bridge discussion once.
Correct.
So, my impression from sitting and listening is that Vicarious is going to carry the day to day, and all we'll really need is to bother the person from Vicarious with stuff, and then they push it through, more or less. Ideally, we'll see.
Well, I don't even think we have to, once we have this initial discussion and they put a marketing / social media calendar together, it's just rinse and repeat, right? If they're the ones managing the newsletter distribution, they'll know that we're going to take the headline article first and then the second article second, and there'll be a regular cadence to post. If they do this for a living, they'll know exactly what we're talking about, and they probably would even put that together for us. We'd review it and say, yep, that's spot on, let's go. Then it's our responsibility as individuals to follow the long growth page, and then on our own personal LinkedIn feeds to like and comment whenever, because we know when those posts are going to happen. So as soon as they happen, you like it, you comment on it, and that gets more circulation for that post throughout our own networks, and that gets it gets it more visibility. So the only work we'll have to do is when we're spending time on LinkedIn, just make sure we're liking and commenting on anything that's on the long growth page.
All right, Mike, that was my question. So that's how we can get it to our own networks. Okay. So we comment, or, maybe add something that we can then, post on our own networks for our own followers.
Correct.
Okay.
Make all my grandchildren into followers. Have them clicking like crazy.
So maybe a recommendation when it's all set up is we have a 15-minute training program for our group, for the trustees, for village employees. So we're all in sync on this and understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's not a problem to do that.
That's a good suggestion.
It's very straightforward. Yeah.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is something we discussed briefly the last time. Internet access, which was a result of my still having an understanding of regulated commerce in the internet from the old days. I got a call from Bill, and I did a little looking myself, and basically, if broadband or whatever is going to come here, it's entirely driven by the marketplace, and the companies now are, at least the way I read it, completely unregulated. So it's a matter of, are we an attractive market for AT&T to upgrade the the service here. And if it happens, it happens, and there's not a lot we can do to influence it. So not a topic for us to be concerned with at this point, unless anybody else has any thoughts.
No, I had the same experience with my conversation. So we're not a big hot market.
Yeah. Oh, well. The TIF information sheet, we touched on that briefly last time and then decided to defer to this time. I think we're just about there.
Already done. I think we're just waiting to upload it. I mean, did we show it last week? Because obviously I wasn't here because I was at a
No,
fight.
we decided to wait until this week so you
Oh.
could be here in case people had
Okay.
questions.
Denise is going to show it then.
Thanks, Denise.
So we did a very generic mock-up of, oh, and is there any way you can do more full page or scroll down a little bit more, Denise? Thank you. So again, to try to be generic, these are actual, like this is based on the statutes. These are possible what TIF eligible expenses may include, because we didn't want to upset the apple cart and piss people off on what was or was not going to be allowed. So on the right-hand column is what, so, I mean, this isn't the whole list either. This is just a litany of some of the costs, and we can eliminate whatever we want to. But, and then I caveated at the bottom saying actual eligible expenses will vary. But then, you know, and then on the left-hand column, we kind of used, you know, what TIFs can be used for, so and why, and then I list the two TIFs below that we have available, so the Illinois 83 and the new South Gateway. So again, very generic. We just thought we could throw these up onto the website when it's completed, but or we could throw it up on the website right now before the new changes that we're making. But again, open to any suggestions, discussions, talks, whatever, but it's a lot of words, but just to kind of give you a flavor, and we as a group can decide, the village can, and the board can, you know, if, do we even want to, you know, exclude some of these just to make it a little cleaner? I'm open.
I mean, I think it looks great. The only thing I found difficult that was a little confusing was that under the TIF funds may be used for costs associated with development of property within the TIF. I was wondering, can we make, rather than putting the slash, because I think it's allows declining underperforming areas to become viable again and allows these areas to compete, maybe do, like, put them below each other instead of side by side. Because I kept saying allows declining slash allows these underperforming areas to areas to be.
That totally, because you know what? Yeah, I think if we do bullets below, otherwise we can just, I mean, I was thinking that we, I mean, we don't even have to put these, but yeah, if you still like those two, I'll make those two bullets one on top of each other. Okay.
Yeah, I just thought that was the only thing, but I mean, when I was looking at the other TIF sheets on the other websites, this was actually much cleaner than a lot of them. I liked it. It was more succinct. So more information is sometimes, I thought it was easy to read and it had the information. So I thought it was good. Thank you.
Jenny.
This looks very good, but can one take a link to specific areas for those two different TIFs? Is that possible?
Yeah, you know, we could probably embed a link in the, so where it says Illinois 83 downtown, we could probably embed a link to that, because you can embed links within a PDF.
Right.
We can do that when we upload it. I don't know. My question though is, will our, again, and here's where Denise, you might have to help me. Does our software have the capability to upload just the PDFs that has the capable, like the clickable link? Do you know?
I think so. I think we can do that. I think.
Yeah, in which case then I'll embed it. Yeah, great suggestion, Jay.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
Do you guys like all of the possible eligible TIF costs being included? I mean, we could probably eliminate a couple if you want.
I think it's good to have it all in there.
I mean, and that wasn't the whole everything either. It was just a lot of the more relevant ones, I thought.
I think it's good to have them all in there. It may incentivize someone to pick up the phone or make a call or follow up on this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Oh, and Denise, could you just do the one, like a one-page view so you can see the whole thing?
Yes, hold on one second.
Thank you. Just so that,
I'm trying to see on here where the little
oh,
things covered up when,
yeah.
okay, view, here, wait, let me see if I can do,
Hold on.
no.
Zoom, go to the Zoom.
Zoom, yep, there it is.
There you go. And then you can just do Zoom to page level. Is it Zoom to page level? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so.
See.
Yep,
Yeah, there we go.
it is. I picked a generic picture just to kind of, it was like a retail picture, obviously. But then again, figured none of these pictures or any of this would piss anyone off because it was generic enough and clean enough that we could get the idea across. So other than making the two suggested changes, so at the tip, the 2 bullet points in green, I'll do top and bottom. And then the Illinois, the 2 TIFs, I will embed links into our actual TIF pages. Any other suggestions? Otherwise, we can close this one down and we can put this up on our website when it's done.
I think it looks great. Thanks so much, Mina.
It does look very good, Mina. Thank you.
Great, thanks guys.
Great job, Mina.
Thank you. We'll get this one off our to-do list.
Yes.
Future, please.
We have a 2-item agenda next week. It's the best.
That's awesome.
All right. So going forward,
Drone video.
drone video or the traffic patterns. Jennifer, you want to go?
Yeah, so I've talked to Jeff and the drone flyer. We are tentatively scheduled for Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of next week to do the drone flight. I asked about trying to hit it during those peak traffic times, and they said it's more critical to hit it with the right lighting, with the shadows. So they want bright, so they don't want it too early in the day. When the trees would cast shadow, they want more middle of the day bright light. So we're kind of weather dependent, and we're going to do it from a couple different angles, but we're all set to go. So I don't know if anybody, I had sent like a flight plan, kind of the angles that I thought, looking at the other EDC sites, kind of a 45-degree angle, kind of going from the south north, so you could see the developable land with like the Menards in the back. And then we're also going to do like a flight over, so we can have motion, but also, some stills. But if anybody wants to join us for that drone flight, let me know and I'll put you on the email, and you can come and stand and watch a little thing fly in the sky.
That should be interesting. Yeah. Everybody likes to be their own video, whatever. Is it going to capture the traffic coming in, say from the south on 53, and suddenly going to look at all that traffic headed north, and then ta-da, that kind of thing? Yeah,
we definitely wanted, my thought was we actually start south of the intersection, probably in that little strip mall parking lot, so we can get up and see, the exit off of 53 and, the spur onto old 53. So yeah. Want to get the traffic and definitely hit the intersection of 53 and 83 at sunset, so you can see all those, that traffic going by.
Yeah, you're almost guaranteed at that point to have a fair amount of traffic going by anytime.
Exactly.
All right. Design of the microsite. We've been talking about this kind of back and forth. My sense is that we do well to wait until the budget's approved and the money's in place and the contract with, is it Vivacious or whatever they are? Vicarious is in place, and have the discussion with them about how it's going to look, because right now
Vicarious, I don't think will help us with the EDC website. That would be more Municode that would help us.
Okay,
Um,
well, then we're ready to go.
but I think that I think it would really behoove us to have you know, what are those bullet points, those key elements we want on ours?
Right.
So, because then we can hit the ground running when we're ready to go. So I don't know, did anybody come up with their bullet points of the things they wanted on our website?
Did we want to talk about, I know we had on our agenda the rankings of some of these websites. Did we want to talk about which ones, you know, we liked, that there were particular features that we thought would be helpful for us? You know, and looking at the 6 websites that Roger pointed out for us.
The problem with that, Pam, was I think the ones that Roger pointed out were not run by Municode. So if we looked at the ones that Municode did, I think we need to really, I mean, I think it's okay to look at the ones Roger brought up for content, but how they're displayed, because the difference is very stark. Municode has a much different feel. So I don't think it's easy to take like the Buffalo Grove or the Libertyville, try to translate it to our website. I mean, the content, yes, but not the visual.
You know, I think that's a good point, Jenny. I was doing some, you know, just looking at other websites and I sent an email to Municode about this to see if there wasn't some community around here that was similarly situated, you know, similar population and that type of thing. And they have worked on Woodstocks, the city of Woodstock. Municode has worked on their EDC microsite. So we all might want to take a look at that one to see if there's aspects of that that could be helpful, you know, so that when we talk to Municode, you know, we have something to refer to. I looked at it and it does, you know, it's doesn't have as much motion or interactive features, but it is good. I mean, it's comprehensive in terms of, you know, showing different things like their enterprise zones and the different programs they have, incentive programs they have for businesses in the area. They have a Tiff district. They have state incentives posted. They actually have done a revolving loan fund, Woodstock, where they have established a fund that businesses can apply to. So I think both from the content of what they have and how it's laid out, it may be instructive for us to look at that because it's the only Municode site that, I think it was Greg Huggins of Municode. It was the only one that he could pull out from, you know, the Illinois area.
Pam, it looks,
Yes.
I mean, at the bottom of their, what I'm on it as you were talking, it says it was the site designed by AHA Consulting. It doesn't say Municode, because ours and all the other Municode ones say Municode.
Yeah.
So
Greg referred to it. I'll forward you his email. I mean, maybe he just they worked on that aspect of it, because I think we asked him, Denise, I think you asked them what they had worked on. So I'll double check that, but I thought that was one that he had mentioned. At least they worked on the EDC.
I did send out a list of Municode sites that you could refer to. I can resend that out, but there was a list, I think it was maybe 7 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think the Municode, and I agree. I mean, I think just the platform we have, unfortunately, is not as dynamic as some of the other communities' websites. So I think if we need to stick with what Municode has capabilities of doing. I agree that we should only stick with the more important factors, and Pammy brought us some good ones. Like, you know, if we had incentives, we could talk about incentives. But I definitely think the labor and demographics information that I'd already put together needs to go up there. The TIF information needs to go up there. Our eventual screenshot of like the flow chart of how we do business and who goes to who
Right.
when, I think that needs to be up there. I think our contact information for if someone is interested in talking to our community about opening a business, who should they contact? Like that should be first and foremost. It can't be a sign your name in and we'll eventually contact you. Like that's the worst thing possible. You want someone to be able to contact you directly or whomever, so village manager, whatever. In my opinion, those are the most important things to show why anyone would want to even look at us.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that, Mina. And I think, we can make that list. That list is a good one, of comprehensive demographics, that flow chart of how you start a business that Mike worked on, your TIF information. I think we can make 4 or 5 bullet points, and we can refer back to some of these websites where I think they were better with these things than others. I think Lake Forest had a good page on contact information. I thought Lake Zurich was very well organized. Lincolnshire is very good with demographics. So we could kind of at least refer, the 4 or 5 areas that we think need to be covered. We can kind of use a few for reference points, but I agree it has to be something that if we're using Unicode, that they can, it works on the platform that we have, that they've developed. One other suggestion I had, I researched a few other websites, and actually it was Mundelein. It was on your list, on the list of sites that we were looking at. They actually had a reference to the person who worked on the site, and his name was Ian Ross, and he's the founder of a company called OppSites, OppSites. And he says on here that he spent 15 years working with cities and communities to help revitalize their neighborhoods and districts. So it looked like he worked on their website, but it's somebody who we could contact maybe to get another bid. If you want to look at Mundelein's again to see if you like the way that one's laid out, there was a specific reference to his company in there. And it was interesting that he had a plug there, but it might be another bid that we can get to see what they would be willing to do. I think.
Yeah. But
yeah.
So is it even, I don't think it's even a question, right? Like, because we're stuck with Unicode for a while, right? Don't we have a contract with them? So I think for future, when their contract is up, maybe we can talk about some of these other better maybe websites that also have all the capabilities we need. But right now I feel like I hate to say we're stuck with it, but I think we're stuck with them for a while, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I also wanted to say, we are upgrading. We're hoping to upgrade our Unicode
package.
So right. We might have more capabilities that we're looking for. So we have been on the bare bones budget package. So we might get more bang for our buck moving forward.
Yeah, that's a good point. And at least we could double check, but it looks like they worked on this Woodstock site, and it's pretty good. It had a lot of really good features. So, and some of their programs that Woodstock has are very good. Some of their economic development programs are pretty innovative. So it's another thing that over time we may want to look at. Like I said.
No, Pam, I agree. If we could find some of this program, if we could find the budget for some of this programming, I'd be the first person jumping all over that. Absolutely. But I think our biggest hurdle is that we don't have enough revenue collection, which incentives are typically driven by tax revenue collection borne by a city, or received by a city. And I think the fact that we don't charge a property tax, and the only thing we do have to live off of is basically the sales tax, I think encumbers us a bit. I think one of the first things people look at is incentives in a community. If they are looking for how can the city help me possibly subsidize some of this? And I think that is where we will fall a little short. Hopefully with the TIF, we've got some capabilities, but again, if it's going to be a pay-as-you-go TIF and our TIFs have already been upside down, I just don't see that as a possibility. But I do think that, the fact that we've gotten creative with creating the special sales tax, within that Sunset Grove area, I think that just shows that we are open and willing to entertain possible incentive ideas to help promote business. But I do think that we should highlight something like that we've already done. Maybe not necessarily, kind of like we can't offer revolving loans or, but we can say that we have done this in the past. And I think examples of that are good. And I love your enthusiasm, Pam. I think that is one of the best things. And I think I wish we had more that we could put on our website. I wish, truly, for myself too.
Maybe I hadn't looked at the website for a long time and it's my bad, but in looking at the Woodstock site, the first thing I came to when it was economic development was that page that had nothing more than the meetings of the Economic Development Commission and the name of the village manager and things like that, and nothing more like that. And that reminded me of what the Long Grove website was. I can remember looking at it and seeing nothing much more than who the members of the EDC were and how you could find their agenda, nothing more than that. And so I just went back and I looked at the economic development page for the village of Long Grove, and it was much improved from the last time I remember looking at it. And it does have what I think we're looking at. It's got tabs along one side with key elements that you want people to be led to. And it's on the road to becoming a lot more attractive website. So we shouldn't beat ourselves up too much. We have made some progress.
I agree, Roger. We do have a lot of what we need. And some of it we just have to get it up there.
Right.
Like the demographics and the TIF. There were a couple, I really liked the Belmead EDC, their photos of available properties. I thought that was really effective. And I think with the drone video and the drone photos we're going to have, I think this would be really easy to kind of emulate. So I felt we are on the right track, and it needs a little polishing. It needs some photos. I'd like to see some photos up of all of the available properties. But that takes time. Denise is our limited resources intern who I know she's getting it from all sides. And so I think I'm optimistic that once we get on board with Municode, we kind of have some more time and monies to invest in it. I think we're not too far away from what we're looking for.
On a micro basis, has there been any specific inquiries to the village on the South 15 piece of land for specific development, or is it still just a sign they have up there?
Say that again, Jay. I'm sorry.
On the piece of property south of Sunset Grove Development, which is for sale, which has been farmland. Has there been any specific inquiries from CB Richard Ellis or whoever is acting as the agent on that property for specific development, whether that be multifamily or anything to the village at the level of the village board administrator? Has there been any inquiries on that piece of property?
Nothing has been brought to the board since we had the senior, the senior citizen residents.
Which is about a year ago plus.
Right. Yes. I think there's been another, but nothing that ever came to fruition and came across my, my lap. So,
hey, Jay,
not that I know of.
Jay.
Yes.
So, I think we talked, in the very beginning when we first started doing this, didn't we talk about the reasons that site was so difficult when Eric Russell was still here? Was because of the ingress and egress related to off of 83, off of 83. Isn't that right?
Well, that's correct, except there's also a tie-in at the stoplight, which is on the corner of 83
And 53.
and Robert Parker Coffin.
Right.
Which if you look at other shopping centers, even in maybe they have with similar like traffic, and that tie-in there, the control of that, I believe, is basically between the village and Sunset Grove, because there's already an intersectional stop. So, I mean, obviously, I think that if you approach the traffic solely from the course of looking at the extension of Old 53, that's one thing. But there is the ability to tie in, and there's actually some recorded easements across all the parties there for that tie-in. Now, that would depend upon what the use pattern is there. I still believe, and obviously this sounds like a broken record, that high density residential would have an adequate traffic pattern coming in through the existing intersection. So I think that whole idea that the intersection at the extension of Old 53 to 83 is a difficult intersection to get in really is negated if the access point of the extension of Robert Parker Coffin cuts across 83 into Sunset Grove. Would probably be more than sufficient access for that type of use pattern.
Yeah,
Different
I would agree.
conversation, but you're talking about several $1 million potentially of an intersectional change there, which would not at all be necessary, just from existing circumstances by the parties involved. I mean, the village I think controls a piece of that access. I control the backside of that access. I think when the site to the south was developed in order to give them ingress and egress, I think that we also got a reciprocal easement actually to tie into that piece. Potentially, I don't know if it's in the hands of the village or in the hands of Sunset Grove, but it's in the hands of a controlled party for sure. So again, that thing continues to sit vacant. With the remaining portion on the TIF, I tend to forget in my memory, the remaining portion of that TIF is about 10 years now, or plus or minus.
Yeah, that's right.
You suddenly put on some, so I think that it should be, now if there's no interest in coming for any development, but I think maybe if any development occurs there, one should keep in mind that Eric's comments were 100% correct if in fact the intersectional change has to be done at 53 extension. But there is already a stoplight there with, with right in, right out, left in, which between all the parties that are sitting at the table right now could be used to create a access point.
You know, what's funny is when I saw that, obviously that real estate brokerage sign has changed so much over the years and more frequently within the last year and a half, I'd say. I was a little more hopeful when I saw the CBRE sign go up because, I mean, I've worked with that kid. And
they're the right parties. They're the right parties. I mean,
yeah, they are. But the fact that they're not generating any more, I think means that there's something else that we're doing or not doing to market that properly. And which again, maybe it's the zoning. And again, that's obviously not our department. That's the zoning department, and that's the village board's department. But I do think that, like we keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And we've done that with different brokers on that site. So something's got to give personally. And I think that is a definite economic development issue that I think that we're seeing that I think that is the prime site other than there's so many prime sites available in Long Grove that should be right for the picking, especially nowadays. But I mean, again, I agree that if that was a mixed use residential and a little higher density, I think that gangbusters, like we would have no issues filling that. I would think especially having a Long Grove zip code. I think a lot of people
especially now this is just if you extend all the way east on Aptekissick and you hit Milwaukee Avenue, they put up a apartment building there and everyone said it was a ridiculous location and they'd never fill it. Now, obviously, I think they're certainly hitting their numbers. The reason I bring that up is we should always remember that that particular piece has already potential ingress egress from an intersection, which is improved and actually was part of the tips. So in regards, it would similar and the timing on the TIF is expiring in 10 years. Was that a 25-year TIF?
Yeah, it's 23. Yeah.
23.
But the thing is, you're right, because we're not gonna see, unless we start seeing movement in the next year or two, that tip will be upside down. I mean, in my opinion, but because I don't see anything else really. So my recommendation, I agree with you, is like, I think maybe something else needs to be done from a like village board and zoning perspective, because quite possibly maybe, because if I'm doing a search, I'm doing a search for, if I'm only wanting industrial, I will click the searching for industrial on CoStar, right? I'm not looking at everything, thinking that I'm going to have an uphill battle trying to fight a zoning commission. So I think for us to be more proactive in order to get more visibility to that site, we have to be a little bit more open with the zoning, and either that being, I mean, I can't remember what that was zoned currently. Is it just commercial?
Well, I believe that there may still be zoned farmland, because they, in essence, were trying to keep the real estate taxes low on that piece of property, which in essence, from a TIF perspective, is a bonanza, because the real estate taxes there are probably nothing.
Right.
And so all of a sudden you could have an incremental increase, which could be a couple $100,000 a year in tax. It could be 300,000 in taxes.
Right.
In that regard.
I wonder if we could advertise.
Without, I believe, again, if the use pattern subject can use the existing intersectional change, which is Robert Parker extension into effectively, that's already paid for. I mean, the capacity there, it'd be hard pressed. I don't care if you had a 10-story building there, you'd have more than enough ability based upon the intersectional standard. You got a double lane turning coming in, I think going south for traffic flow and things like that.
No, I mean, I think if we do, I mean, again, probably not the right time, and this wasn't on our agenda, but I think that these are the topics that I think EDC should be discussing.
So would it make sense, I don't know the procedure, to reach out to someone to see what the broker has in mind, just some thoughts, or to develop a relationship with the broker? So just to open the door. Maybe they're sitting there, maybe the broker's sitting there on the other side saying, I'm not sure what the village will do. I'm not sure what we can do there.
Is it Brian Buckingham? I think Brian Buckingham's been he's all over town. He's got his signs all over town, if I'm not mistaken. It might be him. I'll double check. I'll give him a call if it is. He's really good he's very proactive. When he hits a region, he hits every single piece of land in the region. So
it may open the door to get his thoughts and just to see where they're at.
Yeah, he's done everything from residential to industrial. So, but yeah, I mean, I think part of it is, it's just interesting, because if CBRE isn't getting traction, then it concerns me that there's something else underlying that is.
Well, there may be some internal family issues with the existing property owner, but they're probably, with all respect, they're probably through another generation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sitting around. Sunset Grove is going to be open past 10 years already.
Yeah. Maybe we can table this for another discussion, Roger, if that's cool. Or I'll see if I can reach out. I think it's Brian Buckingham. If it is, I'll give him a call.
We've been dancing around the edges of this issue for
years,
as long as I can remember. The issue being more dense housing opportunities for developers in Long Grove.
That isn't senior living.
That isn't senior living.
That is not senior living, right?
I had a book fed to me from, actually from the library. They said, you're reading these things, maybe you'd like this. And so I got this book. And the book was talking about development, the future of development. And the argument that this guy makes is that given the demographics of the United States, given the way our world really is, the Long Grove houses, the big chunks of land, the desire for those is disappearing. And he predicts that the value of Long Grove type houses in the next decade is going to decline, because they just don't have the value they did in the 80s and the 90s. And our development plan was from the mindset of people who thought a Long Grove house was the ultimate goal that people had as they were growing up and growing their families, which when I moved here it was. But times have changed, and maybe we should be nudging the village board to re-look at the underlying development plan. Yeah.
So if we, I mean, is that something that, and again, and I think that's within our purview of being an economic development commission, is if we're trying to develop and drive economic development into our community and drive businesses won't happen unless we make things happen in terms of either be it zoning or marketing of certain properties or incentivizing certain locations. And I think we're doing some of that, I think, but I think that we should be talking about this, frankly, again and again, whether or not we keep coming at it from different perspectives. But I do think that we need to talk about it more in depth and see if we can get any traction. Because, I mean, I keep looking at the Melody Farms, and just that sprung up. That was Park District. I mean, that was Forest Preserve, right? I mean, look how gorgeous. I mean, there's like very classy, mixed use, high-end rental properties with amazing restaurants and shops. I mean, we eat there probably more than we do some of the Long Grove, just because you can get so many different and hit everyone's appetite. I mean, and it's just like that kind of classy mixed use that isn't senior living is, I think, perfect and right for, because Long Grove is seen as old and stodgy, you know, because you can't afford, unless you were much older, to live in Long Grove. That's been our perception, right? That again goes to Roger, what you were saying. You know, you're going to Long Grove and you're going to raise your family because you're affluent, and you know, versus, hey, I'm a starter, young Lincoln Park yuppie, or now I'm a dink but now I'm going to have kids and I'm going to move to the suburbs. What suburb can I afford? Oh, maybe Arlington Heights or Palatine. I can't afford Long Grove. And I think that is, again, and not that mixed use will get there, or, you know, but I think if you can get younger people with maybe starter, like maybe, you know, two people just getting married, thinking about having babies, maybe, you know, kind of a cute little apartment living in, you know, like a mixed use, like a Melody Farm, except move that to South 15, I think would be tremendous personally. I think that opens it up to not being so exclusive and not being old. I think that would lower our average median age and our demographics to be more in line with a Mundelein or actually more of a Vernon Hills, I'd say. And that would be awesome. Because again, when you look at our average age of demographics, we're too old to want business for businesses to be attracted to us. So
what would that kind of development do to the value of the present homes, the Little McMansions, just north of Aptekissick and 83? What's going to happen to them if there's a classy, more intense residential development there?
I think it's a rising tides, because if you get more population and you also get more retail in, and if you get more retail in, like again, if you get, we're not saying open it up to get Kmart's. I mean, we're saying the cute little, like a Lululemon store, or a, you know, just like little cute little shops and restaurants. You know, they opened a Madison Reed, which is a hair coloring bar, for real. Like the fact that like there's little things that aren't going to detract from class, I think only helps, you know, again, Sunset Grove, the fact that you could walk to your grocery store from that location. I mean, then you're adding in the urban, the ex-urban kind of feel to a community that is very sought after right now, without being in the heart of downtown, living with a million other people within, you know, a couple miles. Like this would be a cuter, less dense. I mean, more dense than what we already have now, but less dense than like a Lincoln Park. But if you can still walk to work, maybe not walk to work, but walk to the grocery store, walk to the restaurant, walk to get your hair cut. I think that we don't have that in Long Grove anywhere. I mean, maybe the people that live in the downtown area could walk, but nowhere else in Long Grove. You have to drive everywhere else. So I think that would be such a great, that is my hope and vision one day for Long Grove, that I would love to see, but I'm wishing, I know.
My lot touches Joni's parking lot. I still have to drive a mile to get there because it's all dead ends.
We'll build a bridge for you.
I would like to interject that this has already started happening, Nina, and I wasn't aware of it until we were knocking on doors, campaigning. And I realized after the first week or so that a lot of the people who opened their doors, unlike 4 years ago, are indeed the 30-somethings. A lot of them. And
Really?
Yeah, and they don't have one child. Many of them had 3 and 4 kids. I'd walk up the driveway and I'd be like, wow, I wonder how many of these kids, live at this house. And as a matter of fact, Ann and I were talking about it. I said, they're just a lot. I was used to having older people primarily answer the doors. And these young people, they open that door and they open it with a smile, like they're welcome to see you. And I thought, man, I could be the Fuller Brush salesman, or whatever, but they're vibrant, they're excited. And I cannot tell you how many of them said spontaneously, I love living here. We moved here 2 years ago. We moved here 6 months ago. They've got family in the area. And it just it points out the need to increase the connection of the pathways. And everybody laughs at me on the board, but I want a bridge over Route 83 and over Old 53 so that the children and the moms and the runners and all that can easily get over these busy streets to do exactly what you're describing.
Then that's awesome, Rita, because again, I mean, I'm relying on old census data because we don't, as a community, have any sort of data that says, hey,
Right.
There's X number of 30-year-olds living here with X number
Right.
of children. Because right now, all of our, again, census data is every 10 years, right? But unless we're going to knock on every door, we won't really know. And that is actually amazing to hear. But I do think that shows that, I mean, I still think that we need some sort of, you need a little bit more of it, not just the downtown where people can gather and congregate. I think that South 15 area would be perfect, but again,
I agree. I absolutely agree with you because multifamily, because you've got the offices, the 3-story offices over there, it's the ideal spot.
A lot of the people, unfortunately, for the seller, are selling their homes for 70% of what they paid when they moved in 1986. Now, once all that inventory is taken out, you can't reproduce any of those homes for twice what they paid in the past. I mean, that's also spurring a lot of people coming up. The actual money to be made from residential is probably right on the top of that list if you're buying now. As are some other suburbs, Barrington and other suburbs, which will fill back in, in that regard.
And the houses in Long Grove are not sitting anymore. Admittedly, the overall market is a seller's market, but even if there's a website, Long Grove Moms, I don't know, I'm on Long Grove Moms because the Long Grove moms are on the site constantly.
Yes, they are. And so many coming in, moving into the area.
Yes. And they're saying things like, we just moved in, we're redoing the kitchen or we're gutting the bathrooms. Anybody know a contractor? I cannot tell you how many of them jump on daily with these kinds of questions. So the houses don't have to be, the houses are not 10s that they're buying, but they're more than happy to do what they need to do. And when spontaneously they tell me, God, we are so glad we found this place. We started out looking in North Shore, we wanted to be close to the city, and this house popped up online and we discovered Long Grove and we love it here. It was like heartwarming. So it's already started.
Not on Facebook. Bummer.
But Long Grove Moms is a Facebook site.
No, I know. I said I'm not. I just looked at it and I'm like, bummer. Why am I not on here? But I don't join Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. So.
Well, but that's where you discover that we've got a boatload of these families. So it's there. They're excited. They're exciting, and they're out doing stuff.
And they may also spur new development.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially when you burn up the inventory, they're certainly going to, in the new development, will obviously be at a price point far exceeding what the they're selling, but they may very well spur new development and the need for, or the desire, let's say, for restaurants, et cetera, extending in that downtown quarter.
Yep.
You're at
So-
a tipping point of something good.
Yep.
Wait, so I mean, and again, shame on me. I probably should know all this like the back of my hand, but so South 15, I think as part of the plan, is that the one that had mixed use or residential, higher density residential? It wasn't. I'm like,
It just says commercial use in the comprehensive plan. That's all it says.
okay, thank you. Bill.
And certainly we need that area to produce sales tax revenues.
We do.
That doesn't mean that there couldn't be an amendment or an idea or a thought or a building or two or three that isn't that. Perhaps, you see what the overall net result is, obviously, but it doesn't mean that couldn't happen.
You could stick on the frontage pieces, unlimited sales tax generating, because the residential piece, multifamily or whatever, multifamily or a single or joint family townhomes, that in essence could be generating regular taxes, but you can get tremendous sales tax off 4 or 5 users right up against 83.
Right.
If the traffic and the demographics, and the beautiful thing about demographics, when you see the new numbers of who's moving in, that may be trailing in the perception of people, but I think the customer side, the actual customer side is those people are probably going to start creating demand for new construction. And then the problem is going to be if the new construction is out of sight, then there will be a slight, right this minute, it's a great opportunity for people value-wise to be building or to be buying in Long Grove. Could very well be one of the best suburbs. And Barrington in some regards too is probably underpriced and quickly rising.
Well, Mike DeMar has a construction trailer at Karen's Corner. That's not the South 15, but it is near the new Tiff, is it not? So you'll see the houses under construction there pretty soon.
That's where, refresh my memory. Where's that?
That's off of Old Hicks at Checker. But just the other side of the soccer field at Menards. He's just north of it. Karen's Corner is immediately north of Menards.
Wait, so he's building what there?
He's got well, we approved for 3.5, 4 years ago, we approved housing down there. And, part of that land was in the 53 corridor and blah, 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 blah. But there's a construction trailer down there in the last couple of months.
Wow.
They're gonna start building.
So access to that is from the internal streets, right? He has no direct access off of off of Old 53.
No direct access off of Old 53. It will be off of right now Old Hicks and Old 53.
Well, isn't that been subdivided and plotted for a tremendous amount of homes? Are there
It was Karen's Corner and Deer Trails,
which together have potential for over 100 homes, do they not?
I thought that Deer Trails was, this is memory, and my memory is not real good this time of the day, but my memory is Deer Trails was approximately 30 homes, custom homes, and Karen's Corner is 20 or 25 or
So
35, 50. something. It's well.
Yeah, 26 or 28 or something like that.
I can't remember exactly.
That's what I remember too.
And 10 of them were are not going to be built because it was in the right of way and the state bought the property.
Okay. So you got 40 plus or minus under existing circumstances, plus vacant land adjacent to that, which could, what was the zoning there? Half-acre lots? Or 1 acre lots in total?
It's 2, I think, right? So that's 2 acre.
It was,
with the density bonus.
yeah, with the magic math.
Yep.
So
that certainly shows. I mean, obviously, if he's doing new development, there's no question that you're going to see escalation. If the existing inventory is being burnt up Rita, what is the existing inventory of homes in Long Grove? Is there a shortage? I suspect there probably is.
Well, there are properties on the market, and anything under 800 sells immediately. If it's not, unless it's, you know, ridiculously priced. It is very much a seller's market, and even the properties in the 7 figures are moving. They're moving very nicely. So, and the pity is, as you know, lumber is so incredibly expensive, and there are a lot of things that builders can't get because of the supply chain interruptions. But there's still building happening.
Yeah.
So what you're talking about is it's already here. We just need to recognize it.
Well, then would be great to see, and we could update our demographics because
Yep.
it's already done and we can just change it. That's easy. I would love to see that once we get all of that, which will be a while.
Yeah.
But great, thank you. No, I love that. That's wonderful. It makes it sound like we're doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Well, and certainly the market's helping us, helping everybody. So, and a lot of these couples, and not all of them, of course, but a lot of them said to me, "Oh yeah, I grew up here," or my parents live here and we decided to move closer. You know, they're not the only ones in their family. So that's encouraging also.
We had neighbors who had their daughter just buy a new house on the other side of 83 after looking for some time, wanting to be back in Long Grove.
It's a good thing for us.
All right. I jumped over, and I don't think it'll take long, but any follow-up with customer relations software? We were looking maybe for something really inexpensive that we could plug.
I'll give you a quick update on that. I was going to jump in because we talked about social media instead, but I did some research. There are a lot of free or low-cost CRM solutions out there. I was surprised to find there's one that's very commonly used and pretty well known. It's called HubSpot, and they have a free solution for, it doesn't seem like there's any limit to users and definitely no limit on the number of contacts you can populate it with. I think that would be a good one to use to start with. They also have what they call a starter growth suite. It's $50 a month with a 12-month commitment. So you're looking at $600. I don't even think we need that to begin, right? If we're just looking for something to help us manage prospects as we start building and making connections now, maybe proactively reaching out versus relying on inbound inquiries, that HubSpot is a good way to not only manage those contacts, but if we want to start getting organized about, okay, we have doing an account-based marketing plan. So you get interest from a prospect, then you put them in HubSpot, and then you can use HubSpot to manage, okay, the first thing we're going to send them is the flow chart. The second thing we're going to send them is information on the Tiff. The third thing we're going to send them is an invitation to meet with village officials or someone on the EDC, right? So you use HubSpot not only to catalog the contact information, but to move them through the process of hopefully opening or expanding their business in the village. And for free, it is a well-established tool. It's been around a while. It's not something that is an unknown and that, is going to go away in 6 months or a year. So that's my recommendation based on all the other ones that I looked at. If you want to look at it in the 2 weeks before our next meeting, it's hubspot.com. Check it out, play around in there, see what the features are for the free package. It's pretty expensive. I don't even think we need to get the starter growth suite. Cause like I said, it's $50 a month for a 12-month commitment, but who knows after that first year what that goes to, right? So at least to start, I think we start using the free version of it. And but like any other customer relationship management software, it requires everyone to make a commitment that if we get interest from someone, we need to capture all that information in that spot so that we're all looking at the same data. And then if if someone's interacting with that prospect, we're logging all that information there. So
we need the buy-in from the people at Village Hall as well.
Mhm.
yeah, and that way, you know, our
Sherry,
managing
excitement,
our
we'll get
people
these in.
that were interested in coming to Lone Grove, it's in one spot, and we can reference it easily versus relying on someone who had the conversation or a spreadsheet that may or may not be floating around somewhere. It's just a good centralized way to manage potential, you know, businesses that may move to Lone Grove.
Well, let's all look at it for the next meeting, and maybe Mike share it with Sherry at the Village, just as a please look at this, or maybe the village planner, see if he thinks about using it.
Sure.
See where it goes. Sounds like a decent resource. Any other new business?
Question. So I think my term is up. Just throwing that out there. I think, is that just trying to confirm, is that the end of April? Like what happens, and then
You're stuck forever unless you resign.
I'm
You know how that
sorry,
works.
Mina, your term is not expirable.
Yeah, no. We need
So just throwing it out there because I believe I was in April 21. It doesn't say exactly when in April 21, but I don't think we've kind of gotten there yet where other than people resigning earlier, but for me to actually end out my term, is there like protocol, you know, and then, you know, what happens? So I think we've never discussed this. So I think that's something we should be talking about, or again, we still have a lot of vacancies that we need to fill also, but, you know, just because as terms come up, throwing it out there.
I would just like to clarify, I didn't know there were terms. I thought this was, you know, you volunteered, it was important. So someone could clarify that, that would be great.
The term is forever.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what I
all the
thought.
positions technically have terms. You know, it's a good point. Do we formally renew your term for another 3 years or 1 year or whatever? But many of the folks have been, you know, on the different commissions have been staying on beyond the initial term. So we haven't really done a formal renewal process. Just the way it's always been.
There was a sheet. So to answer Erwin's question, there was a sheet when I first joined. There was a sheet with everyone's start and term dates somewhere on our Google Drive somewhere, and it shows when everyone's term is up. But I just remember April 21 stuck in my head. So so again, we can talk about, like, Bill, if there is a process, or I don't know, but
We should
just, I
probably
wanted to throw it out
other
there.
people's terms may be up at the same. That's a very point well taken. Plus, Lake County sent out that economic conflict to everybody who's
Yeah.
currently-
Right.
that update on ethics. Yeah, that was sent out. That's a good point, Shay. Yeah, maybe one thing that we could do is indicate who would like to continue, and you know, just do a survey of that as just a point of information.
Well, would
You're not getting out that easily.
yeah, I found the chart, and Pam and Jay and Mina supposedly have terms that expire in April of 2021. I'd be fine with just going along with, unless you want to leave, you're still here and you're still a member. And from what I heard Bill say, the board's really not going to bother with the reappointments or anything like that. It seems like a formality that doesn't fit this group particularly. Can we deal with that as a way to deal with it? In other words, unless you please ask to get out, you're still in.
So So unless I step back or step forward, right? I'm just here.
Uh-huh.
We'll keep doing this on a month by month basis. How's that?
Fair enough.
I like that, Mina. Don't leave us just yet, please.
But
Jenny, we
adding
still
on to
need
what
drinks.
adding on to what Mina said, I think we need to put on our agenda recruiting also.
Good
Yeah.
point, Erwin.
I'm ready.
I noticed the lady who ran for the write-in seat on the Village Park Board. I think her last name was Shah. And her background was in land development and planning and kind of stuff. And I was like, geez, why didn't we hear about her before? I'm assuming she got elected as a write-in for the 4th place. Nobody else was running for it, but maybe reaching out to her and at least sending her copies of the agenda and
I'm ready.
when it comes up.
It's my understanding that we won't have the information about the write-in candidates for another week.
Okay.
So they have the clerk, the county clerk has 2 weeks after the election is the deadline for, late mail-ins and things like that. So.
Okay, well, I'm going to make a note that I don't want to lose track of this woman if she has the background I saw. Even if she just weighs in once in a while, that'd be worthwhile. But to Mina's point, yeah, if you all know of somebody that you think would be willing to give their time, we did ask Gary Vicari if he would be interested, and he very politely declined. So
How many? We have 3, don't we? 3 open positions? Or is it 4?
not a clue.
We're supposed to have 9, right? 1, 2,
I think
Up
it's
to
9, yeah, I
yeah.
think you're right. Yeah.
6. So I think we have 3 open, unless one of us quits. But yeah, okay.
I was wondering just if it wouldn't be really great to have somebody like an advertising video person.
Yeah.
And I was
A
wondering.
drone specialist?
Yeah, like a De Niro. Like, what do you think about reaching out to somebody that does photography and videography and, or even, I don't, it was just a thought.
Real estate brokers. I mean, and what else do we need?
Right, exactly. Well, I'm just, they might have, free good insight into some of the stuff we're looking to do for our website.
But do we know? I mean, I was just going to say, so wait, for those of you that had been maybe knocking on doors, if you saw any young person that maybe wanted or showed interest, Rita or Ann or Jenny or, Phil, anyone, if anyone came to you like, hey, I'm just moved here and I really have lots of time and really want to help. Anything like that?
My new neighbor is like, he does all sorts of cool advertising and stuff, but I asked him, I was, are you interested in getting, he's like, no, I work like 87 hours a week. So
I think that we need to actively reach out to every new household in this community to, number one, welcome them, and number 2, to let them know that we are looking for volunteers for, scenic corridor, for EDC, for all of the possible ways that people could get involved, because we need to extend the invitation, period.
Well, Rita, you weren't part of that conversation, but we're as part of a long-term project and with the Stevenson is putting together a welcome package to anybody that moves into the area.
Yep.
And that would be a great thing. Like, come get involved. These, we need people to fill these seats, and yeah, I think you're right. I got that when we bought our house in St. Paul, and I thought it was really wonderful.
Yeah, we have to reach out to these people. We can't sit back and wait for them to come to us, because if they think about it at 9 o'clock at night, they don't remember 9 o'clock in the morning. And it's silly not to reach out, extend the invitation and say, we'd love to talk to you. If you just want to be involved, and you don't know what it is you'd like to do, give us a call, send us an email, and we can list all of the different committees and commissions and find out what their interests are.
Is there any way that the village knows of new residents moving in? Because we don't have license fees or any such that I'm aware of as you move into the village.
The best way is through waste management. They sign up for
Oh.
trash. So when we can get those lists from waste management, it's one of
It's kind
those.
of funny. That's kind of funny that we have to find out through the garbage people first. I mean, I just think it's kind of funny.
Well, but I ran into people, I knocked on their doors in neighborhoods that said no soliciting. You know, I thought, okay, well, I'm really not soliciting. I'm just here to say hello or whatever. You know, people who don't know we have e-newsletters. One lady said, I've lived here for 15 years. You mean there's a newsletter? And, you know, it's like, oh my God. So we have to be the ones to reach out. Obviously, they're not, if they don't know it's there, how do they know to ask for it?
Well, we talked about doing that welcome packet for people, right?
Yeah.
So how do we get a list of people that moved in? I mean, obviously too late now for everyone, but going forward, I mean, other than, I mean, obviously waste management, but
what about real estate records?
yeah, I was just going to say real estate people, like, is there any way we can start compiling? Because we can see all the closings, like in the Longwood magazine, even you say like, oh, this one sold. And maybe we'll be like, okay, sold, and then send them a list.
I have kept a list for the last 4 years of the deed transfers that are published in the Daily Herald and the Tribune. That is not a foolproof, you know, you
But
get
it'll be a start.
exactly. And I'd be happy. These are at least the people that I know of that are new within the last 4 years.
Could we just send them a mailer even? Like,
Well, it has to be because we don't have emails. We just have addresses.
But I
And
wonder, even if we didn't have the budget for a stamp, maybe we could just drop it off in their mailbox, you know, just to like.
no, you can't leave. You cannot put unstamped literature in mailboxes.
Bummer.
The post office will fine you.
Okay.
I think we can afford the 55.
You door tag.
So
Door tag is kind of a cute idea.
it would be nice to say welcome, you know.
Yeah, I feel like when I moved to Long Grove 25 years ago, I did have a welcome. I feel like I got invited to the garden club, and I mean, that was a long time ago, and my memory's a little unclear, but I feel like I did receive some sort of welcome wagon stuff.
Gee, mine must have gotten lost in the mail.
Mine too.
It was unstamped, that's why.
Right. But I think that for a lot of reasons, we really need, I've been asking for this on and off for the last 4 years. You know, but it's a missed opportunity for which there's really no good reason.
Yeah, it was called the Newcomers Club.
They still have a newcomers club, but I don't think the newcomers club
doesn't
actually reaches out. I'm not sure. You know, I'm not sure how it works.
Well, I think we should definitely pursue this. I like it.
And yeah, I agree.
I don't know how much it costs to produce the village stickers that I buy on and off the village car sticker that I used to get them for my kids when they lived in the city, so they wouldn't be bothered by the city police. But maybe turning that into a come and get your village sticker when you move, first year's free or something like that would get people into the village.
It could just be a nice welcome and invite them to maybe stop in at Village Hall and pick up a newcomer packet or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a good idea. Like, have it at the Village Hall.
Right.
Like, oh, we have a great welcome package.
Right.
Maybe we put like a tag on their door saying, "Welcome to Long Grove. Stop in at the Village Hall, and we'll have a welcome package for you."
But what's going to be in the welcome package? So maybe like just information about all the services and utilities and like phone numbers for whatever, and then maybe like list of all the restaurants and shops in Long Grove.
And couldn't we reach out and ask them for coupons? Like, oh, like 20% off at Menards, or, 20% off at Joni's. I mean, maybe we reach out to the businesses and say, would you like to add to this welcome package? I mean, that would be an incentive.
How about there are 2 glossy publications already, Southwest Lake Living or whatever, and that come into, I suspect, everybody's home. And maybe we could piggyback with them and develop some kind of content for them, more than just the phone number of the village manager. Is that?
I would vote to keep government separate from social with those kinds of publications. That's just me.
No, I think I would agree with that. I think we can do a welcome packet that just says, hey, welcome, and here's some information that you might need, right? Just kind of what we talked about last time. And then here's all the phone numbers, here's all the stores and restaurants and activities for children in schools and whatever. But then, but I think, again, keeping government out, but but I think there should be one flyer maybe that says, if you're interested in participating or joining Long Grove, we're always open, or something like that, like open for volunteers, or because that's not like
do-it-yourself government, come and volunteer. Yeah.
So I'm going to try to separate the 2 issues because it started out with recruiting.
Right.
So if we were able to get we'll call it a letter, okay, saying, welcome to Long Grove. Here's all the things you can get involved in, EDC, the different committees and so forth. Because if we start mixing it up with coupons and things like that, we're going to lose focus. There could be a follow-up, a second follow-up on, a package of goodies come into the village hall. But I think if we're focusing on recruiting, which is critical, and we want to get them involved, and they have young children, I think it'd be better off to separate the issues.
And I would suggest that we include a short drawing or explanation of how the village works.
Right,
I cannot tell you how many people think they pay village tax to Long Grove, and we waste their tax dollars. Some of them, they have no clue what a trustee is. Frequently they say, do you live in Long Grove? It's like, well, yeah, that's one of the rules. If you're going to be a president or a trustee, you're supposed to live here. Yes, we do. They just have no clue about it. So, to give them a little thematic schema of, here's how it works, and these are our responsibilities. We take care of public roads. We don't, blah, 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 just a short whatever. Mm-hmm. It would go a long way to having more informed citizenry, I think.
What a great opportunity to let people know about permitting.
On the line to Bobby.
Yeah, permits too. Good idea, Amy. That by you'd have to do that in a very.
Those are the people who are going to be doing work on their house, pretty much for sure.
Yeah, and maybe that's a separate sheet of paper. Here's the phone number for the. Here's the website, blah blah blah. So.
And then you could also have the information to sign up for the newsletter, right?
Right, correct, correct.
So practically speaking, how do we get this done? Should we take this on as our job,
Well, I think we should run it by the board, first of all. So I'll bring it up at the board, but I'm happy to collaborate on putting together.
I think it needs a collaborative kind of process.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoy trying to write about the uniqueness of Long Grove and sharing that with people in a clear way that educates.
Free daffodils every fall.
Yeah. It could be really beautiful. We could put something really nice together.
You know what? Even I feel like I don't even know about everything that's going on in Long Grove. Again, Long Grove Mom's website, who knew, Facebook page, but just stuff like that. I'm like, heck, you should just leave out information. Again, maybe we put that on our website too, but if someone comes in and picks up a packet, if we could also have it accessible on a website page saying, information for new people or whatever, even for old people.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. Absolutely. You would be surprised.
Because I would love to find out more. I mean, I would love more of that information. I don't need the packet, but I would love the packet of information. And if we can put that on our website, I think, again, I've lived here 9 years now and we didn't know. I mean, so we're still having problems with the post office, but whatever.
Oh my God, don't go there.
That'll be like a 20-page booklet though. So that the printing charges on that alone will be.
No, but I think, again, if we put that online, it would be free. We could PDF it.
Yeah.
All right, so we got another little job to follow up on at our next meeting. So that's not bad. One last time for the book. I think we may have run our string on this book because most of the towns are a lot more industrial and a lot more focused on major development or whatever. I did find this last chapter, to the extent that you got to look at it, interesting, just because, you know, Don Henley of the Eagles manages to be the savior of a lake, and yeah.
Well, but it was, I thought it was funny, but like how the guy was like, oh, and then Don Henley reached out to me and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whoa, really? And I saw him in China. I was like, oh, but anyway, what was funny is, so now I want to know, what's the connection with Barbara Reed Turner?
Well, she's been like the patron saint of, in my experience anyway, conserving green space, conserving open space in this area. She's done a lot of work over the years.
I was thinking she had a tie into Caddo Lake, and I was like, oh.
Well,
No, Salem Lake. She's tied into Salem Lake.
Yeah, that works. But the fact that we do have this open area, I think adds a lot of, I think it's part of the reason why the people that Rita talked to said we love Long Grove.
Yeah.
Because it's very different to drive around here than it is, you pick the suburb in the area, you know?
Right. No, I think,
My
and
drive
it's like
home is
we're
unlike.
similar. Yeah, it's like we are with like Barrington or Inverness, or I feel like, or like certain parts of Lake Forest that are very expansive and have, you know, minimum acreages and stuff. But I agree, because it's not like a Palatine where everyone's sitting right on top of each other, or even a Vernon Hills, right? So I do think that is what makes us distinct. But I actually am enjoying this book, Roger. So
I am too. Thank you for.
So thank you.
Somebody wants to pick a chapter for next week, and you know, I'm up, or next 2 weeks or whatever. I'm up for it. It was different, to say the least, from the usual reads.
But you know, it's hey, people in the United States just aren't educated about geography. And for me, I travel a lot from a work, so I know a lot of these podunk little cities. But it's fun to read about cities that I've never even heard of, like Caddo Lake. You know, like it's just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah.
interesting. I love that, because I'm the same way. My way of getting to know a community is to go to the YMCA. It's such a pulse on this
Really?
community. Yeah. And the author is a big swimmer, which my husband and I swim. So it is a little microcosm of the community. So I thought, I'm like, I'm not the only weirdo that goes to YMCAs all over the country. But I did feel, I mean, I do feel that having kind of a patron saint of a town, and that was kind of the same with the out in California, the Redwoods community, so we just need to cultivate the next Barbara Turner for Long Grove. So if anybody has any, we need a benefactor to kind of adopt us. And but when I first moved here, so there were like the Walks and Barbara Turner and the Clemensons. It was these old and of course, Robert Parker Coffin. There was a real strong sense of environmentalism and a real push and education. And one of my concerns about Long Grove is the people moving in, and I've run into it. They're like, well, we want sidewalks and we want streetlights. And it's like, well, then why didn't you move to Arlington Heights? I'm worried that the vision of Long Grove is going to get diluted with the demands. So I'm hoping that Rita's right, that the people are loving being here for Long Grove. I don't want to lose the open space. And I also worry, as somebody who fights garlic mustard and buckthorn, that our conservancy areas are just becoming riddled with weeds, and there really needs to be a refocus on just because you're not mowing it doesn't mean you don't have to maintain it. And that I think has eroded a little bit in the 25 years I've been here.
I think we need to educate people, Jenny.
I do too. And I think the Park District and Conservancy are trying.
And we need to let them know the availability of the little talks or the sessions. And that's a perfect thing for a mom and tots group, really.
Social media.
Yeah,
absolutely. That would be good on our social media.
Yeah, I think so.
Start with the little ones.
Right. When garlic mustard is coming into season, this is what it looks like. You do not want this in your yard. It's easy to pull. If you pull it, they're just a little blurb on information would be.
I don't even know what garlic mustard looks like.
Exactly.
Well, I can show you.
I don't have the green thumb in the family, so.
But you don't need a green thumb to weed.
That's why I don't have a green thumb.
And maybe that should be in the newsletter. Maybe there should be a small paragraph about the, environment.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I totally think so. I think that'd be great. Just say, hey, did you know? And then,
right.
Kind of like a little, did you know, or something fun. Like that would be interesting.
There you go.
Oh, I didn't know that. Like buckthorn. Oh my God, worst thing ever, I think. But
yeah.
But again, and for people to know, because we all have it.
Phragmites, like some people, I said something, I'm like, oh my gosh, you really need to get your Phragmites under control. And they're like, but it's so pretty. I'm like, no.
What's it called?
Phragmites. That's the tall grass with like the really bushy seed head. That's lining all of the wet spots.
It sounded like I don't know. It sounded like a Fraggle Rock. I'm like, a frag what? I didn't know.
I think I think I'll reach out to Bobby about because garlic mustard is coming into bloom, and just putting little like, this is coming into bloom. This is a bad weed. It's easy to control with this
exactly.
method.
Yeah, Earth Day is coming up, right? I mean, that would be a great kickoff.
Oh, perfect.
That's what I was thinking, like an environmental issue.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
that would be more for the hard copy, but maybe to do something quick for Earth Day, put it out via email this time, but maybe next April's bridge should be an environmental issue.
Yeah. I think that's great because I don't think people have the knowledge.
They don't.
I don't know what garlic mustard looks like. I know
exactly. See, I think you should put a little picture and say, this is coming into bloom, pull them if you see them, and this is why it's bad for you.
Yeah.
And how to get the roots.
Yeah, but garlic mustard is like the easiest thing. It just comes up. You want to go out on a day after it rains and it comes right up.
It would be fun to make that a mom and tots play date on a Saturday morning.
Seriously, just to be like, yeah, because what kid doesn't want to pull stuff on? You're like, don't touch that. And then you have them start pulling all these weeds and you've got your weeding done.
But you could make that a Saturday morning project for little ones.
But we also have to put in tick information.
Yes,
because this year is a huge tick year. I pulled 7 ticks off myself yesterday.
Ouch.
Oh my gosh. No, I really do think because people coming in from the city aren't aware.
Yeah.
And to do tick checks, because I have a friend in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, who now has Lyme disease. Both her and her husband have Lyme disease because between all the pets and themselves and they're walking, and now it's like, and what to look for, maybe like, the bullseye pattern and kind of like the implications of it. I think that's very important.
And
it's a service announcement.
Trick is just for all of you, get a lint roller and roll yourself when you come in. And that's how you can get the little tiny ticks.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So see, you should put that in the newsletter.
Yeah.
I'm serious, but that's what it should be. Like, I've never thought to do that. Okay.
Yeah. And I'd even do it for my dog when he comes in.
The other thing I was thinking was maybe in addition to these are the bad weeds, hey, these are the good weeds.
Yeah.
Dandelions and a dandelion recipe. I'm going to be harvesting my dandelions soon for the first time, and I'm very excited about it.
Koreans love dandelion weeds too, just saying.
And as a beekeeper, it's the first food for the bees. So
okay, are you a beekeeper too?
Yeah.
Can I come to your house? You have eggs, you have bees, you have dandelion weeds and stuff.
But no garlic mustard because I weed it.
No garlic mustard.
But no, because I hate it when people, because it's the first food for the bees. And if they spraying their lawn, it just decimates the bee population. So.
But it would be such a shame to see this tradition get lost, because I knew about it when I moved here. It was open space, it was natural space, and people valued it. And
yeah.
I think they still do. Rita, you may remember the hearing about the people on Cuba, and the new subdivision on Cuba, on the south side of Cuba. And the neighbors were going on about one of the reasons they moved there was because they really valued the open space and the trees.
Yes.
And
yes.
And natural settings. That's still out there.
A young family coming from the city, actually.
Yeah. There's a really good book called Nature in Your Backyard that talks about how like one oak tree supports like 170 native species, whereas buckthorn supports 7. So even just recommending like how planting native things in your yard really encourage just, nature more than putting in like a highly cultivated non-native that's aggressive.
That would be great information, I think, and it may pique the interest of a lot of people.
Yeah, and there's so many places that do information well. Like Morton has great programs, the Botanic Garden does, Independence Grove in Libertyville has wonderful programs, and Riverwood. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel, but connecting these people to the programs that are out there, I think it's great.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
And to the extent that it makes the village's brand stronger for something that is part of what we are, it's part of helping us maintain our.
Thanks for pulling this conversation back to the EDC. Strengthening our brand. That's it.
Once in a while.
I do have a 1-minute recap if we're done on that topic before we head out.
Yes.
So sorry, my phone was not working at the top of the hour at 7 o'clock. All right, so we talked about there's going to be like 20 to 30 purveyors of chocolate on Robert Parker Coffin. That's the plan. We only have a few committed at this point, but there will be more. So Friday's tickets for the VIP, we only have a limited number, but Saturday and Sunday, 1,000 tickets will be sold. So I do have a promo code for the HDLGBA, which we test ran it yesterday. So we will come up with a comp ticket code, and I need to clarify this at our next meeting a week from today to see, how the board would like to go about it. But I think we'll probably have a village trustee comp promo code, and we can do an EDC one. So if you guys want to invite the piano lady, somehow we got to figure out how we cap that so it's not taken advantage of. But I'll have more information next time after the HDLGBA meets next week. The other questions that were asked, coming up with somebody who has been at the festival numerous times. Jasmine's looking into the name, but my husband came up with, he thinks it's called Strawberry Fields, but they're the people that do the chocolate covered cheesecake, banana, and strawberries, and they have been there at every festival for years now. So I'm going to bring that up at the meeting next week also, and see if they're cool with them being approached on this. Maybe it is that the HDLGBA approach them and say, hey, the EDC of Long Grove would love to interview you guys for a series of how to do that. So I can have more information next time about that also. I think that was about it. The tickets have gone on sale. They went live on Friday, and we've already had a bunch of people buy tickets for it.
When was it again? I'm sorry.
It is May 14th, 15th, and 16th.
And now I'm just, one of the things, I'm just wondering if people are just holding off, A, weather, B, vaccinations. Like, again, not everyone, I think, feels comfortable being in crowded, even though it's outdoors, crowded spaces. So I just wonder if maybe that might hold until like more people get vaccinated in the next month, I wonder.
Possible. But already we've sold 68 tickets for Sunday. And I'm not sure what the heck I wrote down for Saturday here.
Wait, and what are you capping it at? Or do you have a cap?
1,000. Yep. And
right there, that would freak me out. I would say no. I'm like, oh. Like, I would say that's too many people still in my world, even though I'm fully vaccinated, but still I'm like, oh.
They're using the, what was the, like 30 people per 1,000 square feet, I think was the mathematics. Jesse had said it at the last village trustee meeting. And so I'm just going with memory on that. I did write it in, it's in my minutes. I think that was the method that they used to calculate. So, but that 1,000 is, it's all outdoors. So you can just kind of, that's people who would be walking down Chocolate Road. That's people who would be at the expo tent. That is people, at the exhibition tent. So everybody's going to be spaced out. So I think people know that they just don't go to, if something's a little too crowded, well, you just stay over here. And I think there's also a lot of people who, more than 1,000 people who are not concerned and will not be getting vaccinated and have no qualms about it. So, if everybody gets to do their own thing, and we'll see how ticket sales go. So that's all I've got, unless anyone's got any questions.
I think we're all good.
No, I'm just looking at the time and realizing I'm going to be late for my next meeting.
Yeah, we're all, we're adjourned. Thank you all for hanging around. It was an interesting morning.
Do we even have to officially adjourn, or?
Yeah,
We're done.
we're done.
Second that.
And I'll reach out to you, Jenny, offline separately anyway.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.